Today's lesson is all about finding the equation of a line. So remember that every equation for a line starts with this equation. Y equals mx plus b. Now, I just got to remember I have to tell you that there is sound in this one. Now, the m value represents the slope, and the b value here represents the y-intercept. Now, for the first problem that we have here on our graph, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the graph and trying to identify things like the y-intercept and the slope. If I look at this line, if I look at this point here that crosses the y-axis, this is the y-intercept. And we would say b in this case is equal to 2. Now, in order to find the slope, we have to find two crosshairs that cross the line. So you see this one right here and this one right here. And now all we have to do is count the number of points for the slope, which equals the rise over run. And we have to figure that out by counting up. That's 1. So our rise is 1, and we count over 2 from there to get to our other spot. So our value is 2. So our slope is 2. So now moving on, when we want to go and state our equation for this equation, we start with y equals, and we're always looking at this equation up here, y equals mx plus b. M is 1/2 x plus our b value, which we found here. Our b value is our starting point, y-intercept, which is 2. And that is the equation for this line. Now, when we look at this graph here, the y-intercept is -3, and our two crosshairs are at these two x points. And then we're going to calculate our rise over run. So our rise is 2, and our run is 1. So our rise is 2 positive, and our run is 1. So that means our equation, if we refer to this equation here, our equation is going to be y is equal to m, which is 2/1 x minus 3. Moving on to question number 4. Moving on to question number 3, actually. We'll take a look at this graph. The graph that you have on your sheet has a y-intercept of this point here, and its y-intercept b is equal to 4. So now what we have to do is we have to calculate our slope. M is equal to rise over run. In this case, we're going from this point here to this point. So we go down, we actually went down 4 and went over 2 in this case. So now our slope is -4 because it went down, and 2, which simplifies to -2. So now our equation for this line is y is equal to -2x plus 4. Now, for any line that is horizontal, the slope is 0. And all we end up doing is we just write y equals whatever the intercept is. So in this case, the y-intercept is b equals 3. So our solution is just y equals 3. Now, for vertical lines, all we do is use whatever our x-intercept is. So in this case, x is equal to -1. All right, your homework is the equations of lines.